What's up, guys? It's Wes with Sincity Tactical. Thank you for joining in to the Sincity Tactical Show. And with me, as always, with a special guest, Jax, Griff, and introducing Rob. What's up, guys?
Hey, good. Great to be
Hey, man.
back.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hey, what's up,
Rob,
brother?
nice to see you on. Appreciate you coming out.
Thank you for bringing me out here.
Absolutely. We appreciate it. We are going to jump right into this. We're going to start off with our patriotic message.
All right. So for this week's Patriotic message, it is brought to us by Calvin Coolidge, our 30th president. Patriotism is easy to understand in America. It means looking out for yourself by looking out for your country. Definitely great words to live by. Well, let's take that and roll into our 2A news. Take it away, Wes.
Perfect. So for our Pro 2A news section, we have a clip where there's going to be some reading involved. There is some voiceover, so you can either listen to it and or read along with it. But we're going to roll that right now.
Second Amendment Foundation is applauding a ruling by a Boulder, Colorado district judge striking down a Boulder City ordinance that outlawed possession, sale, or transfer of semi-automatic sporting rifles and magazines capable of holding more than 10 rounds. This wasn't our case, noted its AF founder and executive vice president L&M Gottlieb, but it was the right decision by Judge Andrew Hartman. He ruled against the city ordinance because it violated Colorado's state preemption law, which prohibits such local ordinances as the one in Boulder. Anti-gun politicians and organizations target such laws because they require uniformity in state gun laws and prevent the creation of legal minefields designed to trip up law-abiding citizens. Gottlieb is also delighted that the media alluded to a landmark U.S. Supreme Court ruling in June 2010 that incorporated the Second Amendment to the states via the 14th Amendment. This was his AF case known as Mtinold v. City of Chicago, which nullified that city's long-standing ban on handguns. Judge Hartman's ruling is another victory for state preemption, Gottlieb noted, coming soon after a Washington State Court of Appeals panel ruled unanimously in his AF lawsuit that the city of Edmonds acted illegally when it adopted a so-called safe storage requirement a few years ago. SAF and the National Rifle Association challenged that restriction and a similar one in the city of Seattle, Washington, as one of the earliest preemption statutes, which has been used as a model for similar laws in other states. In Colorado, Judge Hartman wrote, "The court has determined that only Colorado state or federal law can prohibit the possession, sale, and transfer of assault weapons and large-capacity magazines. The state of Colorado has passed laws that are effectively preempting local governments from enacting municipal firearms and magazine possession ordinances. This is the way state preemption laws, which we wholeheartedly support, are supposed to work," Gottlieb said. "Our hats are off to the plaintiffs in this case, Robert Chambers and James Jones, Gunsport of Colorado, and the Colorado State Shooting Association. Their victory is a win for all Centennial State gun owners."
So, with that being said, I think it's a huge step for Colorado to be doing what they're doing and trying to say, hey, look, unfortunately, we're not going to abide by all this other crap that's going on. We're trying to keep our state and our state laws where they are. So, for me, I hope this is something that Nevada decides to do by saying, hey, look, you're not taking away our magazines and stuff like that. We will abide by the no fully automatic weapons and stuff like that unless you have permits and licenses and things. But to completely shut down everything when it comes to gun related laws is just ridiculous. Griff, you got anything you want to talk about on that?
Not much. I just hope that this sets a precedence for other states to follow along, and eventually, I hope this will be a nationwide thing. Both holdout states like New York and California. I highly doubt it, but at the very least, we can hope for 48 out of 50. What do you think, Jax?
Yeah, I'm not gonna go ahead and retouch on anything necessarily topic specific here, but when it comes down to the overall magazine portion and them, basically throwing it back in higher up government's faces saying we're not gonna abide by that, we're gonna stick to what we want to do. I mean, that in my opinion should be something standardized all across the board. You know, obviously ATF's gonna do other things that's already kind of trying to get put into law. But if that's one thing that we can just do away with the whole magazine thing, to begin with, it's a pointless law to be put in order. Rob, do you have anything to touch on with that?
I pretty much agree with what you're saying. I mean, it's a good start. It's a good kind of blueprint for other states to start going off of. Um, I do believe California and New York are probably never going to do anything like that, but like Griff said, 48 out of 50 is not bad.
Absolutely. I'll take that, you know. And for SA, and I don't think it's just magazines, I think it's also partly, the whole assault weapons ban. The AR-15 is an assault rifle. You guys have heard us say this thousands of times on this show. Taking away the magazines is one thing. Taking away our ARs is a totally different thing. Get people training. Stop taking away guns. But let's move right into the next thing. And the next topic we're going into is tactical gear review. So I'm going to start off with the tactical gear review. Like you've seen recently on our show, we do play a little snippet showing what our personal tactical gear review item is, and then we talk about it individually, and then at the very end, we go and discuss all of the items. So I'm going to roll my clip. So as you saw there, my clip showed the Vulcan gun magnet. Now, me personally, I have 2 of those gun magnets in my truck. One for a SIG, one for a Glock. And to speak on TAC Pack a little bit, the box that we just received came with a universal Vulcan gun magnet mount in the box, which I will be giving to Rob at some point, so he has one for his truck since I have 2 of them. So TAC Pack, we'll talk about that a little bit later during the shout out section. They give out really good gear. Definitely excited I got that. Rob, you got anything to say about the Vulcan gun magnet? I can't hear you. Yeah. Absolutely. I'll have one for you. So next time I see you in person, I'll have it to give to you. Let's move right into Jax and his tactical gear item.
All right. So for this week, I'm gonna go ahead here and touch on 550 cord a little bit more in depth than I have in previous episodes. Uh, just because I feel like we've talked about it, but haven't really shown it and got into the overall usage of it. So the nice part about the 550 cord, you can tie it to D-ring loops and kind of make a makeshift, not sling, but sling load for going down. But before we get further into this, I'm going to go ahead and have Wes roll the actual video clip for this week. All right. So, again, as I said, 550 cord, multiple uses for this. I mean, you can tie gear down with it. definitely one of my favorite uses for this is making makeshift shelters out of, or clotheslines when you're out in the back 40s or in the middle of the field. Obviously, you're not going to have a washer and dryer, let alone a hard case shelter in some instances. So things like my backdrop here, tarps, things of that nature, you can go ahead and definitely tie this roll of 550 cord in between two trees and make a lean-to, or a, for lack of a better term for it, a tent out of it, and then stake down your corners to the ground for shelter. Now, when it comes to using it for clothesline, obviously that's kind of self-explanatory, tying it between two trees and making sure that it's tight. Obviously, you don't want your line dragging your clean clothes all over the dirt. So again, multi-use. I'm going to go ahead and start with Griff. You got anything you want to say on the 550 cord?
Nope, I can't think of anything that you haven't covered. I appreciate it though.
Perfect.
What about you, Wes? Anything?
No, I'm gonna save my comments to the very end when we go into the main discussion aspect of it. I think it is time to run your tactical gear item.
All right, that being the case, roll the clip, please, and we'll get this going. All right, this week I'm sharing something personal that I use every day. It's my Tier 1 concealed Axis Slim Appendix holster. Now, these are $130 base price and are custom made to order. Takes them about a month. You have 170 different firearm models with many custom options, including 4 different sweat guard sizes, cuts for optics or threaded barrels, and suppressor height sights. The spare magazine may be orientated with the rounds facing the gun or away from it, along with different heights if you choose to use a use a extended magazine. You also have 4 different clip choices, an optional wedge pack to orientate it to and fro or closer or farther away from your body. They come in 16 basic solid colors, like this one where I have gray on the front, red on the back. Also 13 premium kayaks designs such as this Cryptek or flags. Rob, do you have anything you want to talk about pertaining to those right now, or might as well save it until the end if you so choose?
I'll save most of it to the end. Those are actually pretty impressive. They're so customizable. Actually, really cool. But yeah, I'll save the rest of my comments for later. How about
Sounds
you,
good.
Jax?
Yeah, no, I'll just hold off here until we get into the discussion.
It's that time. We're at the discussion. Since Rob is new to the show, we haven't gotten a tactical gear item segment set out for him yet. And so basically, after my clip, your clip, and Griff's clips roll, we move right into the discussion stage. So that would be now. Me personally, I think the holsters are pretty cool. I'm definitely looking to get a new inside the waistband holster for my 43X. And I like that holster comes with the magazine holder as well. I think that's pretty slick. And you said that it can be configured in a way to where you could either have the rounds pointing towards your firearm or away. I know some people position it to where they grab either appendix with the bullets to get into the mag well easier. Some people like to grab it the other way, so I think that's pretty slick. Rob?
It's just the way you were just showing it right now, Griff, how flexible that is. Yeah,
That
that's
uses it does use a shock cord hinge
yeah,
that is user replaceable.
yeah, that's pretty cool. The fact that it's just so customizable is actually, I mean, you can make it literally exactly the way you want it. which is really cool. I like it.
Yeah, for inside the waistband holster, I think it's probably a great idea for just the overall aspect of it being flexible and being able to conform to the user, and obviously having the option of what way you want your magazine in the mag holder with the bullets facing is kind of a unique way, because especially in certain aspects with magazine holders it has to be facing one way.
Absolutely. And 702 HVAC guy says, "Hey fellas, what's up, 702 HVAC guy? Thanks for hopping on. We appreciate you jumping in. Definitely a constant viewer. We appreciate the support." I want to speak on the 550 cord a little bit. So I carry 550 cord in my, I guess, go bag, my EDC bag. I got about 2 spools of it in my truck because it is very versatile. Like you said, you can make a bunch of different things out of it. Funny story, and it'll be a quick one. I had a time where I was driving a 1987 Toyota pickup, and all I had in me on my truck was a thing of 550 cord. My muffler fell off because I was the cool kid. I had to put a cherry bomb glass pack on there, and of course I didn't secure it right. I was like 15, 16. It fell off. I used paracord to tie it back up so I can get the mile and a half home. It burned it off. But hey, I got my muffler back on. I got home, and it's very useful. So definitely glad to have that stuff. Griff?
I don't have anything I want to expand upon with the 550 cord, but I do wish to hear more about the firearm magnet that you were talking about and the additional features it offers other than just holding your firearm. Could you talk about that a little more, please?
Yeah, absolutely. So, um, and I'll have to do a video on this for the YouTube channel and for Facebook, showing my gun magnets in my truck where I have them placed. So essentially, I'm going to give you a third person view directly at me. Here's my steering wheel. Here's the Prindle to put it into gear. Directly underneath that, underneath my radio, I have 2 gun magnet mounts. I have my, personally, I carry my 320X5 in the truck. So I carry a full-size weapon in the truck. And then I also have a spot for my Glock 43X or my Glock 17 in the truck. So what's nice about it is, and I go off-roading all the time to go out to different shooting spots. They hold really, really well. I can hit pretty hard bumps. The guns don't fall. What's nice is it's not just holding the gun. I can physically grab the grip of the gun, push down, and rack the gun if I needed to. I mean, me personally, I carry them loaded, so essentially it's just holding the gun in place so it's ready to rock. But if you're in the mindset that you don't want to carry one in the chamber, you can rack your gun off of it. So you don't have to try to grab your gun out, load it, and then go. You can just push, and now you're back into the fight, right? So why do I carry 2? Because I do. When I go, I'm carrying 2 guns basically at all times. If I have a passenger with me, they have the ability to grab a firearm and get out and also get into the fight. 2 is better than 1, and you don't want to end your life because you're having a one-on-one fight and the guy's better than you are down the street or whatever the case may be. So having somebody there to back you up is nice. I also keep one of the AR pistols that you see around me underneath a seat, to where if I have a real situation going on, it can go down. But the gun magnets are very versatile. They allow you to do a bunch of different things. I've even used the Glock one to hold my extra magazine for my SIG. So I have 2 magazines at the ready on top of it, which is pretty nice. But I mean, that's pretty much it. They just put your gun in a spot that's safe for you, safe for your passengers, and easy to get to in the event that you need to use it. Unfortunately, California wants you to lock your gun separately than your ammo and your magazines in 2 different locations in the trunk, and none of that makes sense to me. In the event that you have to use it, what are you going to do? Hop out, wait, I got to grab my gun, don't do it, hold on, go back, load it, hold on, still not ready, okay, let's go. No, that doesn't work. Luckily here in Nevada, we it's the wild, wild west out here, man. We do it. So carrying the gun with me and having it ready to use is a big thing for me. Does that answer your question?
Definitely. And with that, Rob, do you have anything to discuss?
I do not at this time. No, but I'm excited to get that magnet from you, Wes.
Yeah, you'll get it. You'll get it soon. Perfect. Let's roll right into the Red Button News segment. I'm going to play the intro clip real quick, and then we'll get into Red Button News.
New analysis of global weapons sales, published Monday, revealed that the United States now accounts for well over a third of all arms exports worldwide over the last half-decade, and nearly half of these weapons of war were sold to nations in the Middle East, a region beset by war and conflicts unleashed and exacerbated by American foreign policy. According to the new data on global arms transfers compiled and analyzed by the Stockholm International Peace Research Institute, a decrease in arms sales between 2016 and 2020 by Russia and China, the second and fifth exporters overall, respectively, was offset by increasing sales made by the other top 5 weapons exporters, US, France, and Germany. And while the sales remained steady compared to the 2011 through 2015 period, the report shows that the past decade still saw the highest levels of weapons sales worldwide since the height of the Cold War in the 1980s. The United States remains the largest arms exporter, increasing its global share of arms exports from 32 to 37% between 2011-15 and 2016-20. The USA supplied major arms to 96 states in 2016-20, far more than any other supplier. Almost half, 47% of US arms transfers went to the Middle East. Saudi Arabia alone accounted for 24% of total US arms exports. A 15% increase in US arms exports between 2011-15 and 2016-20 further widened the gap between the USA and second largest arms exporter Russia. While international arms sales plateaued from 2016-2020 compared to the previous 5-year period, the import of weapons increased sharply in the Middle East region, especially in Saudi Arabia, the world's largest importer of weapons overall, as well as in Qatar and Egypt, all major customers of US manufacturers. Middle Eastern states imported 25% more major arms in 2016-20 than they did in 2011-15. SIPRI noted the largest increase of any regional bloc. This reflected regional strategic competition among several states in the Gulf region. Saudi Arabia, the world's largest arms importer, increased its arms imports by 61% and Qatar by 361%. For its part, Egypt's import of weapons increased by 136% over the past 5 years. Like with other goods, it remains unclear exactly how the COVID-19 pandemic impacted the international arms industry over the last year, or how long such impacts will last. It is too early to say whether the period of rapid growth in arms transfers of the past 2 decades is over, said Peter D. Wesman, senior researcher with the SIPRI Arms and Military Expenditure Program. For example, Wesman added, the economic impact of the COVID-19 pandemic could see some countries reassessing their arms imports in the coming years. However, at the same time, even at the height of the pandemic in 2020, several countries signed large contracts for major arms. Among those countries was the United Arab Emirates. While their weapon imports decreased over the last 5 years overall, a pending sale of 50 F-35 combat fighter jets built by Lockheed Martin shows the nation's appetite for American weaponry remains very strong heading into the future.
Indeed. So obviously, importing and exporting just products in general in other areas, especially during the pandemic, has either helped or hurt a lot of businesses. Now, per the aspect of firearms, with the numbers continuing to rise, I mean, that should just kind of go to show, number one, that it's an area of interest for more than just the US, but in general, importing the same product kind of gives you the overall aspect of kind of just how important it is um, exercise that Second Amendment right and continue to want to go out and buy more weapons, obviously within your budget range. So, Wes, what do you think about this?
So for me, I think when we talk about imports and exports and things like that, there's a lot of countries that are trying to get their hands on American-made weaponry, like they stated there with the F-35 fighter jets and things like that. Other countries are trying to get their hands on our weaponry, which that I don't like. I don't like that at all. I don't need any other country having the same military capabilities that we do. I feel like that's what sets us apart as a country and gives us our superpower title. You know what I mean? We start giving up our weaponry. Now we got a problem. War turns into a much bigger scaled problem than just us going in and trying to do damage control. Rob?
Um, it's yeah, I don't agree sharing our same like military technology with other countries. I mean, our allies is one thing, but even allies, it should still be a restricted amount of information shared. Um, but I think it's also countries. This is how they make their money is military. So it's that's how people get rich off of it is they buy and buy more technology, keep building higher and higher. It's kind of hard to control, but I think our military, our technology is absolutely superb to the world. And we don't need to share it with everyone. What about you, Griff?
Well, I'm gonna come at this from a different light, more as a consumer here in the United States of America. I'm actually surprised to hear that we're the largest exporter of firearms than any other country. The reason why I say that is now you may call me ignorant or something like that. I could be wrong. I'm not saying this is for certain, but from what I see, the innovation of American firearms has really dwindled compared to that of other nations. Much like the Sig Sauer line, the CZ Scorpions, the Strybogs. Every other company seems to be innovating a lot more than our company, or than American companies, pardon me. And yet we're still the major export. But I completely agree with you guys, and let's bring it back to Wes so he can finish us off. Finish us off. Pardon me.
Perfect. So when you talk about SIG and stuff like that, I wanted to put a point out there that there's a lot of companies that are buying out other big brands. Perfect example, CZ, the brand CZ has bought out Colt. They now own the rights to manufacture Colts. Do I think it's a bad thing? No, because CZ is notorious for making very good, reliable firearms. They make cold barrel or cold forged barrels on all of their firearms, which is great. That is fantastic quality being put into a firearm. It's sad to see certain companies go, but you're right. I don't like the fact that we're the biggest exporter. That's kind of scary to think about. Jax?
All right. So, that was me kind of playing devil's advocate for the consumer side. However, as far as military technology goes, I agree we shouldn't be giving out, obviously our new updated stuff. Let's just go back to the ally situation real quick. Personally, in the ally aspect, I think they should receive our old decommissioned, firearms at least, not our tanks and fighter jets and things like that. But with us being the biggest exporter, I guess from a government aspect, yeah, it is more for the government to make money. Whereas to us as consumers in the Pro 2A community, we're just looking at it like, hey, per the manufacturing instance of either A, this is a really good gun. I want, this one after taking it out and shooting it at the range, or hey, this gun really sucks, I'm going to look at something else.
I agree.
Makes sense.
So,
All right. Go ahead.
so with that being said, we're going to go ahead and move on into the next topic.
And that is going to be our shout outs and sponsors segment. So first shout out I want to give is Wendy from Sight Shooter, personal firearms trainer out here in Vegas. You can find her at sightshooter.com. She personally supports the channel through Patreon. You guys can also support the channel through Patreon and or anchor.fm. Patreon's packages are a little bit higher. It does get you exclusive content and merchandise from the brand. Donating through Anchor just helps support the channel. As you guys probably have noticed by now, the layout of the show is different. We did put out a post last showtime that we had some technical difficulties, which is why we switched to the platform that we're at now. So we are moving up, and that's all thanks to you guys. The support we're getting from you guys is allowing us to get better and better with our quality, and has also allowed us to bring in another host. So it's definitely a big plus to have Rob on. I think he's going to be a big contributor to the group, and I'm definitely glad to have him. Second shout out I want to make, like I said earlier, Tac Pack. You can use my code, our code, SC Tactical. It'll get you a free mystery grab bag on your first order of Tac Pack. If you do decide to order from Tac Pack, order at the beginning of the month. Send them an email saying you want this month's box. You get it around the 20th of the month. Costs about $55, including shipping and handling, to get it. So, for example, the box that we just got had one of those Vulcan gun magnets in it that we talked about. It came with a gunsmithing mat and some other various items. We've also received, well, Griff has it too. We also have received muzzle brakes. We've received magazines, a bunch of different items for your firearms. AR 500 steel targets, which is fantastic. So, yeah, I'm definitely excited to have that. We're going to move right into Jax for his shout outs.
Indeed. So for my shout outs, as always, I want to go ahead and shout out TacX Pro Gear. If you use the code Overlander25, you can get 15% off your purchases at National Concealed Carry Association.com and 25% off your purchase at TacXProGear.com. Secondly, I want to go ahead and shout out B&E Music, local music label that is unique to Minnesota specifically, but overall, if you're looking for something new music wise, definitely check them out on YouTube. That's B, the and symbol, E music. Again, Patreon, kind of like what Wes was talking about. However, my side, if you go to Patreon and look up Sincity Tactical MN Division, you can find my page. And if you want to help this side of the show out by donating through there, there's packages included in there for merch and that. Otherwise, yeah, Anchor's another good way to help support for a lower cost on donations a month. But we're going to go ahead and move into Griff.
All right, I do want to quickly backpedal here back to the Tac Pack sponsor. Monday, I had received this month's Tac Pack, and unfortunately, it was stolen off my porch. I had emailed Tac Pack that day along with the video of the perpetrator stealing it. They told me, "Aw, shucks, that sucks. We'll send you one out right away to replace it free of charge." And I had it in my hands on Thursday. Amazing company. I love them. Lastly, I do want to shout out G3 at g3survival.com, the finest leather goods for firearms on the whole market, all hand tooled here in Minnesota. Not to mention, we're constantly coming out with new designs. And I'm the one that does all the tooling for G3 to bring out these amazing products. And I do believe Wes wants to speak as well. So go ahead, Wes.
Perfect. I did have two more shout outs. My bad. So, GTA 5, Sincity Tactical's on it. This exact logo that you see here with Biker Rockers is on it, on our crew emblem. So, PSN, check that out. GTA 5, join the crew. Hang out with us physically outside of the show atmosphere. We definitely look forward to doing it. We play it all the time. And then if you're into Fortnite, Call of Duty, different games like that, check out 702 HVAC guys, Twitch, and One Shot 417. Both of them put out really good content on Twitch in the Fortnite and Call of Duty variety. So there's multiple different outlets for gaming that you can also join us in as well. All right, let's go ahead and get everybody on the screen here. Rob, you got
Yes.
anything that you want to shout out, something that you feel is important for people to know?
I was not very well prepared for that one, so at this time,
No,
no.
I figured not. And that's fine. I figured you might have some later. The reason why I asked it is I know you know 702 HVAC guy personally and One Shot 417. And you could probably speak on the Twitch and stuff like that a little bit more than I can.
Yeah, we'll do that next one.
All right, perfect.
Yeah.
Jax.
All right. So last but not least, kind of like what Wes was mentioning with the GTA 5, we also play Madden and have a season league going. So again, feel free to find us on PSN for GTA 5 and we can get you a set for that as well.
Perfect. All right, we're going to move into EDC, how and why.
All right. I'm assuming you're rolling the clip.
Yeah.
Ah, geez. Anyways, the joys of stretching into a new platform here. So as you can see from the clip, the EDC how and why for this week is knives. Like my CRKT Provoke. To talk a little more on that segment, a plain knife, it's great. Very simple, has many uses. But something like my CRKT Provoke, unless you train with something like this, it could hamper you in situations where you need to use it. Also, when it comes to utility versus defense knives, yes, you can use a utility knife for defense. Although something like this Benchmade push dagger, it's a pure defense knife only. You're really not going to get much utility use out of this, but also, and this is my personal belief, never use your defense knives for utility use. Just like any other tool, it gets dull, things can break, and you really don't want that happening when it matters. Rob, do you have any thoughts on the matter?
No, I definitely agree. Don't use your self-defense tool on utility tool. It's like using a knife as a screwdriver. you know. How about you, Jax?
Yeah, no, I agree with that. There's an old saying, especially when it comes to any tool in general, use the right tool for the right job. So with that being said, obviously, I have utility tools for specific work related issues as well as my own everyday carry knives. But when it comes down to it, I wouldn't use my personal defense knife to try to cut through a block of cheese and then a box and then still try to use it as a self-defense knife. So Wes, do you have anything you'd like to say on this?
Absolutely. First of all, I use my knife as a screwdriver sometimes. Okay. Sometimes it's not by choice. Sometimes you're not trying to climb back down the ladder. Okay. So when that becomes the case, your fancy knife could also become a screwdriver. It depends on the situation. But when you speak about that, me personally, I do not have experience with knives like I probably should. I am not necessarily a knife person. I mean, I guess I would consider this my utility knife. I guess you can kind of consider it a fancy knife, kind of. I mean, it's a big folder. It's a MTAC folder. I've used this as a screwdriver, unfortunately. Probably
Don't
shouldn't
doubt
have,
it.
but you know, do what you got to do in that certain situation. I'm just not handy with knives like that. I mean, cutting boxes, things like that, I'm good with, but butterfly knives, for example, had one, cut myself, said nope, good, put it away, never touched it again. I don't even know where it is, to be honest. So it's not a thing for me. Griff, I'm going to pass that back to you.
No, that's completely understandable. That, especially in today's day and age, where most of us are carrying, or I like to think most of us are carrying firearms, a knife is often uh, left to be forgotten. I just want to constantly bring it back up because, much like the old saying of two is one is none, it's always great to have options. And with that, let's close off this segment and roll into the next.
Perfect. So, last thing I'm going to state on that real quick. I'm not completely dumb with knives, okay? Know how to use them. I just had to clarify that real quick. I carry a knife on my person. I'm just not fancy with it. For me, I'm a get down and dirty. I'm either going to cut a box. I will cut my cheese if I'm trying to make a sandwich. Spread the cream cheese on the bagel if I have to, and then use it to.
And you'll use your power drill as a hammer, right?
Yeah, I've done
Yeah.
that. I've done that a couple times too. Yes, so not done with a knife. I'm just not good with fancy knives. But we are moving into the second to last segment here. It is the funnest part of the show, and it is going to be the CLS training. I'm going to roll a quick intro clip, and then we're going to get right into the game show. All right. As you can see on the screen now, there is a dedicated scoreboard, and you've got us in the four corners. And as you can see, I'm going to let Jax talk about it. Why are the scores zeroed out? We had a competition going. Griff was supposed to lose, and you've reset me. I want to know why.
Yes, it's a very, very simple explanation, my dear brother. So, with the technical difficulties last week, obviously we had to end season 2. Wes and Griff were tied, but being as it was the end of season 2, like I said at the beginning of the competition, that each season we would be starting anew. So, we are back zeroed out for the start of season 3. Now, with that being said, for season 3's first CLS portion, I just kind of want to take this week to do a little bit of check on learning and go ahead and pick your guys' brain, for lack of a better term, and get into this. So, obviously, we covered lessons 1 through 4, everything from carries, tourniquets, compression bandages, different kind of situations, care under fire, and more so care in a safety zone where you're not taking fire. So, first question is going to be for you, Wes.
Oh, man. Here we go.
Yes, sir. So, you are taking fire. Let's say Griff gets shot in the stomach. Somehow, even with the plate carrier on, a bullet, manages to get under the plate carrier and strikes him right in the gut. He's bleeding. You're taking fire. What's your first point of action if you're 5 feet away from him? And then your second point of action on how to treat the casualty once you're there.
Oh, there's no multiple choice or nothing. Okay. Give me a second. Let me think. Okay. Good timing on that Jeopardy music. Let's see. So my answer would be: you said 5 feet away. Griff took one to the stomach, and it's just me and him in this firefight. Is that what I'm understanding?
Well, we're all in it, but you're the closest one to him.
All right, suppressive fire, obviously. Try to get myself to a position to where I can make a move. Run over, grab him, drag him to cover. Do a pat down, visual and physical inspection of the body. Well, whoa, not body. Let's backtrack that. He's not dead. Check him, make sure he's good. That's the only wound. See if it's a through and through or not. And then, it's the stomach. So if I could start administering aid, hit him with some morphine and start packing the wound, try to get him to a place to where I can get him loaded up and get him to a medical evac, I guess would be my answer.
Okay, now that you're packing the wound, how are you going to secure it?
Bandage.
What type of bandage?
Oh, bro, we're not getting into the type of bandage. Ace from CVS, ACE, whatever's in my med kit at the time. No, I forgot the name of that pressure dressing clip bandage, but that one.
The compression bandage.
Yeah, compression bandage. Pack the wound and then throw on a pressure dressing to then try to slow the bleeding, get him into a spot to where he can be medevaced out, and hop in the truck and leave you and Rob there to fight. That's what I would do.
Roger, I'll take that answer. That's a good one.
All right.
All right. Griff, this one's for you. So, you're in a firefight, but you're not taking fire. You're far enough back where your forward moving element is providing cover fire and fighting the good fight. All of a sudden, sniper pops out of nowhere and shoots me in the leg. Higher thigh, left hand side. At that point, what are you going to do? How are you going to treat it?
Well, first off, I'd hit the deck and probably laugh at the sniper for only getting in the leg. But after that, I would assess the severity of the shot, see if it nicked an artery. And if it did, first thing I do is apply a tourniquet to try and cut off the blood flow. That way you don't end up bleeding out. Try and pack the wound and compression dress it. And then afterwards, carry on with the fight.
I will take that answer. Good old Steve Austin. I will take that answer. So far, it seems like you guys have been paying attention over the first 4 lessons. Rob, I'm going to go ahead and throw one at you now.
Awesome.
All right. So you're walking through the field in the middle of the night, pitch black. All you have is your red light because you're under tactical situations. The buddy next to you walking in your battle buddy team falls into a hole in the ground with one leg and sprains their ankle. They physically cannot get up and walk on it. How are you going to treat that wound and get them to the truck?
Ooh. Okay. So sprain an ankle. They can't walk on it. No pressure on it. I need to get them to a truck. I would try and brace it. If I could, and if I can't, just carry them on one side and help them limp to a truck. I think that could work.
Yeah. In that instance, you'd be correct. First, you want to go into your IFAC and pull out your splint roll, obviously brace it and tighten that down with your compression bandage, and then you want to be on the injured side to help move said casualty to final destination. All right, Wes, another one. So, midnight convoy, pitch black. You're using your green lights to see ahead of you.
Mhm.
Truck in front of you takes an IED, goes down.
That sucks.
You have to hop out, pull cover fire, secure the AO. You get hit with enemy fire. Your A driver takes one to both his upper right thigh and inside the cummerbund area of his plate carrier. Now, with that being said, you have to get around to the other side of the truck while grenades are being thrown, gunfire, and possible sniper. How are you getting there? How are you treating the casualty?
You are giving it to me. All right, let's see. First of all, okay. First of all, I'm going Hacksaw Ridge. I'm calling Desmond Doss. I'm gonna say, go get him. Need a medic? No. Okay. You said I took fire, right? I got hit.
Nope, your A driver got hit because
My A
your
driver got hit.
convoy's taking fire.
Is he dead?
Nope, he was hit in the thigh, upper.
My
right-hand
A1
side
driver
of
was hitting the thigh.
Yeah, you're
How?
after you. Okay, I'm going to reiterate the situation.
How is he getting
again.
hit while he's driving?
Tactical night convoy. Your A driver being the person sitting in your right seat, not the driver's seat. The truck ahead of you takes IED fire, goes down. You guys have to hop out of the truck.
Oh, he got hit after he got out. All right, gotcha.
Yes.
So he gets hit. I'm on the right. I'm on the smart side of the truck, is what you're saying, which makes sense. Okay. He got hit in the thigh. Okay.
The thigh and in the cummerbund area. On
The A1 driver did? He got hit in both those areas?
Yes.
Well, obviously, okay, suppressive fire. Move to the rear of the truck so that I can try to get better vantage point and see where I'm getting shot at. Open up my field of view. So if I come back, wider field of view, try to plan a attack to get to my A1 driver. Try to get him to the rear of the vehicle. Tourniquet his leg, if I can. Hit some morphine. Then you said I got to go up to the vehicle that I got IED'd and check for casualties?
Well, that's kind of part of your job.
Well, then obviously I'm going to have to, once again, suppressive fire and leap of faith, run to the next truck, check the bodies. I mean, you get hit with an IED, it's pretty much over at that point. What am I going to do? So my main priority, save the A1 driver's life because I have to. He's the closest to me. Get him to cover as best I can. And I'm looking at it from a standpoint of I don't have any other backup at this point, so I'm doing what I have to do. Get him to the rear of the truck, tourniquet above the wound to try to stop the blood flow. Get him into a position where he can try to tend his wounds himself. Get back in the fight, suppress the fire, try to move up to the next truck, check for casualties, and of course get them to the safest side of the vehicle with cover until I can call in airstrike or medevac or backup of some sort. Critical response team or something like that. Other than that, though, I guess I may not have understood the question properly, but that's my answer.
Well, for a minute there, you almost you almost dropped a grenade on that, but we're gonna go ahead and give you the point because you self-corrected. So, Griff, second question. So, now, Ruck March, non-vehicle convoy. You guys are walking through a sandstorm. Now, in the midst of the sandstorm, your battle buddy takes one right to the kneecap, and as he's falling, sprains the opposite leg's ankle. What form of carry are you going to use after suppressive fire to maneuver the casualty to cover?
So this is after suppressive fire, but with the objective of moving to cover, correct?
Yes, indeed.
At that point, I would do a underarm drag to get him to cover.
That in that kind of a situation would be probably your best option.
Now, otherwise, if we were continuing, I'd have to say a fireman's carry.
Indeed. So for that specific situation specified, that was the answer I was looking for. Double arm or double underarm drag. Rob, you have the last question.
Uh-oh.
I'm gonna make this one simple for you. Another one. You're in the middle of the field having chow, and your battle buddy ends up having bubble guts after eating MREs for 6 days straight. You are the only one CLS certified in the AO and have the CLS bag with basically oversized IFAC as well as a boo-boo kit. So basically a 2-in-1. What are you issuing to said soldier out of the CLS bag to help cure the bubble guts?
Well, for one, you interrupt me during chow. We're gonna have words. Two, honestly, I have no idea. I'm gonna go find behind a bush, take care of it, come back later, get some Imodium.
Well, in that instance, he at least said you were going to give him something to help his stomach. So I guess I got to give you credit.
Yeah, go do something somewhere else. Let me finish my chow. We'll deal with it later.
So, well, I mean, this week's CLS, I feel went pretty well as far as the check on learning went. You guys were obviously paying attention throughout lessons 1 through 4. So that kind of shows the positive side of what this whole segment's supposed to be teaching.
Nice.
Just kidding. We don't need any more questions. So, that was fun. I like the new segment here. I like how we have it formatted, and I like the fact that we can go ahead and hit a. Okay. Obviously, as you guys can tell, we got sound effects and things going now. So stay tuned for more of the fun. I will say this: within the week of us training on this new software, which there's still some hiccups and stuff going on, Rob liked to play Discord dings at me, which definitely caught me off guard multiple times. He thought it was quite funny, and it
Hilarious.
wasn't. What? That noise. Okay. Not fun when you're trying to pay attention to what's going on around you, and all that fun stuff. But we're gonna leave it with one more. Perfect. All right, we're going to go to the close of the show. Thank you guys for joining us, and we're going to turn it over to Jax.
All right, guys. So just want to say thanks for joining us and working with us during last week's technical difficulties. Until next week, stay safe, train hard. Can't wait until the next show, and we'll catch you then. Sincity Tactical out.